want to welcome Lance with us here today. Lance, what is your last name?
Jones.
Jones?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And why did you decide to run for the City Commission?
I've always just been interested in politics and wanted to give back. I enjoy living in Hays and just wanted to give back to the community.
Okay. And what experiences have you had that would benefit you on the commission?
I've worked in the government my entire adult career. I've managed multi-million-dollar government contracts and been in finance, been in human resources, been in, right now I work in, I'm basically a career counselor for the National Guard, so I am a subject matter expert on a lot of different things. So I just have a big background in government, and this city government is kind of new to me, so it's very refreshing and I like it.
Good. What information will you use to make decisions?
That's a very good question. Like I talked about with learning about city government, it's so much more different than state or federal government. I think you have to have what's in the best interest of Hays in mind when you make decisions, and I know that a lot of times in the meetings I've been going to, there's a few people that are fired up about one particular subject or another that they have the loudest voice, but I don't know that they're necessarily, gosh, I don't want to say that. You just have to have the best interest in Hays in mind, and sometimes your constituents who put you in office, you have to listen to them, you have to listen to people that email you, call you, but in the long run you just have to, it's not what's best for me, it's not what's best for my neighbor, it's what's best for, what's in the best interest for the citizens of Hays.
Okay. Well, if you're elected, what would you like to see accomplished?
I'd like to see the taxes go down a little bit. I'd like to see, I like the way that that pay cash for things up front. I went through the last 2 years' budgets. The city of Hays has been ran very efficiently, and I like to see that. I do think that there's some areas where we could cut back some more. I don't think that, I'd like to see putting some money set aside for things, and instead of raising sales taxes later on, you know, we can pay cash up front. I'd like to see some opportunity for businesses to come in. Excuse me. Head's still kind of a little, I think I'm a little groggy still. I think there is opportunity for businesses to come in here, and I've been talking with some people around town, economic development group. I think there's businesses that want to come in here, and I think there's opportunity for them to come in here in the way that Hays has the sales tax set up. It's in our best interest to have businesses here and have people come in and shop Hays.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Strong Towns philosophy?
With what?
The Strong Towns philosophy?
Not. I've been to their website, but I haven't. I'm not very familiar with it. No.
But it's basically a philosophy that instead of ever expanding outward, it involves growing inwardly, and like if a property becomes dilapidated, build something new on it instead of building out on the outskirts of town. And when you build on the outskirts of town, you have to put in new roads, new water, sewer lines, that
Yes,
type
ma'am.
of thing. And the Strong Towns philosophy is, infill in the center.
Yep.
And so, do you know enough about it to express an opinion?
Yeah, I'm very much for the infill, and I think the city has a plan right now that's put in place in the rezoning of some districts that just as of recently there have been good for the city, and affordable housing is definitely something that we've got to look at when we're looking at infill.
Mm-hmm. What is your vision for the city?
Hayes has a lot of stuff going for it now. I want to maintain where we're at, and I want to maintain the things that we have now, and just like to see make sure that we're doing it fiscally responsibly, and I'm not sure that's the right way to say that, but make sure that we're doing it right and we're spending the taxpayer dollars the best way that we can. And I think that our current city commissioners are doing a good job of that and keeping the citizens of Hayes in their best interest too. But I would just like an opportunity to sit up there and work with them on that. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What talents and skills, you've spoken a little bit about your talents and skills. Tell me a little bit more about what you would bring to the table that might be different than some of the other commissioners.
Well, I think what's different with me is I don't really have an agenda. I mean, I'm just out there to give back to the city of Hayes. I'm not, I don't want to accomplish one particular thing, and when that thing gets accomplished, I'm not going to be done working for the city. I'm in here to hopefully get a 2 or 4 year seat on the city commission, and I'm going to do my best and work for the citizens of Hayes for the term that I get elected for, and put my best interest, or the best interest of Hayes in mind, and keep that there. And so I think the fact that I don't have one particular agenda is probably my best asset or feature.
Okay. Well, Hayes has long-standing issues with water. The city's looking at constructing a new sewer treatment plant, and I'm sure you're familiar with the R9 Ranch as a future water source.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think about that type of thing?
Well, with bringing in the water from Kinsley, you have to, wherever we're going to get our water source from, we're in an isolated area with water, mm-hmm. and we have to conserve the best that we can and be efficient with the water that we do have. So it doesn't really matter where we get our water source from. We still have to be energy efficient with it, or not energy, efficient with the water sources that we do have. So the city's got some good water conservation programs in place. I'd like to see some different marketing schemes put in place with the ones that they do have. But they are, what's in place right now for water conservation is a good thing. But at the same time, in the past few summers, we've had water restrictions depending on when the rain is. I'd like to see that more set in stone throughout the whole summer instead of just, you know, during a dry spell. If we get a good rain in June, it doesn't mean that we should be able to gorge our waters into our lawns in July. You know, it should be something set in stone throughout the whole summer. And that's when the majority of our water is being used, is in the summertime. But I think that, you know, the washer rebates and the shower head rebates and things like that are a good way to go. Anything that we can do to make people conserve the water that we have already and just be more efficient with the water that we do have. It doesn't mean you have to do less with water, but be smarter about it, and you know, that's my outlook on it. We just, regardless of where the water comes from, and hopefully the bringing the water in from Kinsley does work out for us, but that's still not a done deal. So regardless, we have to be efficient with the water we do have.
Okay. Let's see. What is your thought on contributing to outside agencies such as the Arts Council, and I believe the city contributes to downtown development and things like that. What is your opinion on that?
I actually have a background in art, so it's kind of funny that you brought up the Arts Commission. I do like to see that stuff within the city and the downtown Hays development in particular. Like I mentioned before, the way that Hays' sales tax is set up, that our general fund comes in off of sales tax, we need people to come in and shop Hays and building up the downtown and doing like it is. It's beautiful down there now. I mean, as opposed to where it was 10, 15 years ago before they started that. And to get people to come in and shop down there is in the best interest of Hays. You know, at what point do you just really have to crunch the numbers and see if it's, at what point it's beneficial to give them X amount of dollars versus, you know, 2X. I haven't been that far into the budget to see what they get right now and what they ask for, but it is, with the shopping districts, it is beneficial for Hays to have people from Northwest Kansas come into Hays and shop instead of skipping us over and going to Kearney or Garden City or Salina.
Yeah. Mid-price single-family housing. I know that several have mentioned that it's an issue here in this community. What are your ideas on that?
Well, it goes back into the infill. I think we need to find a way to build affordable housing here. And right now, it's with the people. There's only one person that I work with right now that lives in the city of Hays. Everybody else lives in the smaller towns outside of Hays. You know, one of them lives in Walker, one lives in Shinshin, one lives in Ellis, one drives from Palco. And it's all because the housing in Hays is not affordable for them to look at. It's cheaper for them to drive into Hays. Now, they still do the majority of their shopping in Hays, and they still do grocery shopping and clothes shopping in Hays, but they don't live here. They don't buy here because it's just not affordable for them to. Why would they spend $160,000 on a house here in Hays when they can go to Shinshin and pay $80,000 for the same or similar type of home? And a new guy that we just hired, he's looking at moving to buying a house in La Crosse for less than $50,000 when he pay $120,000 here. So it is something that we need to look at here in Hays, and why is housing so expensive here in Hayes as opposed to the outlying towns, and it's something when we look at the infill of Hayes, it's something that we need to look at being able to build affordable housing within there in certain districts, you know, possibly apartment buildings or single family homes with smaller lawns or something like that, to where it's my understanding that we have looked at getting some developers here, and the land price is just too little. They would build affordable housing here, but the land price is just too high to do that. But I think that's definitely a place that we have to start looking at, is affordable housing.
Okay. And as far as relations with Fort Hays State University, do you have any thoughts regarding that?
What? I'm not sure I understand your question.
And I don't think they're bad in any way, shape, or form, but I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on improving relations with Fort Hays State University.
Oh, definitely. Fort Hays State University is a big part of what Hayes is now, and it brings a lot of people here. So our relationship with Fort Hays State is that it remains strong, and I think that it is. I mean, as far as I'm aware, that we do have a good relationship now, and I hope to continue to keep that a strong relationship.
Okay, and just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, that type of thing.
I grew up in Sharon Springs, Kansas. I went to school at Weskin High School, very small school, about 35 kids in my high school. Sharon, and both of them are farming communities. You know, they're based off of the farmers or the businesses that support farming industry, restaurants, grocery stores, hardware stores, and there's not much else there. When I joined the Army when I was 17, joined the National Guard. I'm still in the National Guard to this day. I worked construction. I built houses for a while in Colby, Kansas, and in Manhattan. I moved to Manhattan when I was about 20. Went to school at K-State. I was a traditional student there. Got deployed to Iraq twice. And in between the two deployments, excuse me. In between the two deployments, I got a job as a contractor on Fort Riley, and that's where my experience with the government contracts come into play. And I worked at a facility, rebuilt tank engines, and I was their main money man. And I managed about anywhere between $25 and $40 million worth of government contracts every year. I worked there, and then I had an opportunity to transfer my job to here in Hayes, where it's closer to my family, and I took that. Worked at a maintenance shop for the National Guard for the last 5 years, and then just recently took a job with the National Guard, and I'm a career counselor now for them. It's pretty much my history spiel.
Okay.
And I'm graduating from K-State in May.
What's your degree?
Social science.
Oh, really? What do you want to do? I'm not really sure. I like what I do now. I've always enjoyed politics, so I wouldn't mind getting into politics at some point, or working for the government somehow. So this is a good test to see how things go, I guess. All right. right, well, I thank you very much for your time.